Hey guys, it's Frank. Welcome back to my channel. Today guys, you and we're gonna be reading an article together. And you know, I know when I say article, you might be thinking homework. Why would I want to do homework?
Just a little homework tonight.
But the reason why we're gonna read this one together is because this one, it was brought to my attention and it really stuck out. It's titled 8 Things I Learned Trying to Rent an Apartment in Toronto and Seeing 14 Units in 2 weeks. So how about this guys? Why don't you and I react to this article and I'll give you my point of view of a Toronto person who's been renting for too many years. So before we dive into the video, give this video a good old smash. And now let's begin. I assume this is her new kitchen and those are the keys to her apartment. So good on her for finding a place in 2 weeks. All right, so the article starts off by giving a little bit of the background of finding an apartment in Toronto is arguably the worst part of living in the six. I know something that's even worse than finding an apartment in Toronto, and that is paying for your apartment in Toronto. I'm really curious what those 8 things she learned of trying to rent a place out in Toronto is. So let's start off with the first one being that your initial paperwork matters. Good income really means 30% or less of the total income, annual income the applicant has is going towards housing. Sometimes you can push it to 40%, but once it gets near 50%, then the landlord or the listing agent starts having concern. Kind of challenging, especially in a city of Toronto where rent itself for like a 1-bedroom could be like $2,000 itself. To follow this 30, 40, 50% range, you know, that's another story. I will say from my personal experience, I was probably closer to the 50% of my paycheck going towards just rent itself. And I mean, I got approved, so I had no issues with that. Lesson number 2 is leaving out information could affect your application. And this isn't rocket science, guys. Like, of course, if you're gonna leave out information, this is obviously gonna impact the landlord's decision making if they're gonna leave it to you. Like say you forgot how much you forgot your proof of employment or something. Like honestly guys, this shouldn't even be a lesson. I feel like what you're trying to do here is just not look like a sketchy person. Lesson number 3 that they have is that you should disclose that you have a pet. And you probably should. Like if you have like some a dog, a cat or some sort, like you probably want to disclose that information. The interesting part is that when you're looking to rent a place and your landlord knows that you have a pet, then like realistically, your landlord does have a say in it. Like they can probably just reject you and without even telling you that's the reason why, but they can do stuff like that. So, you know, I kind of have this is not really an advice, but like you might as well just say you don't have a pet going into it, which basically means when you're looking to rent a place, don't disclose that you have a pet. Move in first, then get your cat or dog afterwards. Okay, not my actual recommendation. This is just a joke. It's just a joke, but that's how you would get around it. The 4th thing that they have is that you can get rejected for no reason at all. Here's an example. The owner has reviewed your offer and respectfully declines. And it's quite true, guys. A lot of times you got to think of whenever you're applying to anything, whether it's renting a place, applying for a job, realistically, never take it personally because a lot of times you will never know. I remember I did an interview one time and I was like, whoa, that went so bad. And for some reason I got the job. So I'm like, huh, how does that work? Obviously, if you, for the earlier point, if you like half completed your application, well, duh, that's going to be on you. But other than that, if you filled out your application properly, you are a pretty reasonable person, then and they still reject you, then just don't take it personal. Just find the next tenant. Find the next landlord or unit that seeks your interest. When we asked them for a reason, they didn't give us an answer. But as unfortunate as that was, I couldn't do anything else about it. I see where they're coming from. Like say it's a unit that you really desire and you get rejected for some odd reason. Like at the end of the day, the person said no. Like why would you want to like bargain with them? Be like, please tell me why you didn't give me your unit. Like it doesn't really matter because like you should say they give you a reason. Like they said no. Okay, there's no reason to fight it, at least in my opinion. The next thing is race can sometimes play a part in your application, apparently. And as also a visible minority myself, clearly, actually, I don't think I've ever experienced any sort of racism when renting out a unit. But not to say it does not exist, because I bet you 100% stuff like this does exist out here. The unfortunate truth is that you never know the motive behind a landlord, and should race actually does matter for them, it's probably not a landlord you want to rent from anyhow. The next thing that she learned is that landlords can sometimes ask the weirdest questions. Sort of understand the point of view from the landlord that, I said it before, they're just looking for someone that won't trash their unit, okay? And then sometimes, I guess if they're kind of weird, they'll ask certain questions, but there comes a point that it kind of draws the line. Like, I'll give you an example. There was this person that was looking to rent from a landlord, and this landlord, everything was pretty reasonable throughout the application process, up until the point where like everything seemed good, but then the landlord started asking like, can you record, do a video call? And then the person's like, okay, sure, we'll do a video call. But then they're like, nah, I changed my mind. I don't want to do a video call. I'd rather you submit a recorded video. Can you record a 1 minute introduction video? And then this person's like, that's kind of weird. All right, on to the next one is they might actually call your references. Really? Really? No, seriously. Like, you really think a landlord is gonna just give their keys to a $500,000 unit or more to a random person, and they might call your references? It's a no-brainer. Of course they might call your references. I mean, I hate to be the bad guy in this one, but this one's common sense. We have the final item, and that is to be prepared. And what they say is some things include narrowing your criteria from the start. Very true. Like, you should already know your units that you're gonna be looking for. Before you start viewing condos, you should get all your documents prepared beforehand. And this one, from everything I've read in the article so far, is probably the most important thing about renting out in Toronto. You should already be prepared to already sign that dotted line going into these units that you're looking at, because that's how fast that they go. It's unfortunate that it's like that, because I know if you go to like Winnipeg, you could go to your realtor, look at some units and be like, give me a week or two, but not in Toronto. Overall, I would say this article it's okay for a beginner's level of looking to rent out in Toronto. I will say the most important part of it all is just making sure you have your documents all ready to go before you even start looking at units with your realtor agent. So that way you are ready to go to sign the day of. And that's the sad truth of finding a place in the bigger cities, but it is what it is. And I just want to wish you best of luck if you're looking to look for a place out in Toronto. And I'll just say, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, following my good millennial journey. And I guess I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.